someone who is not so comfortable with Hindi, some of you may not be. Is it okay if I mix Hindi and English? Kitna chalega? A bit of Hindi as well, if I mix the two. Is that okay? Yeah, thanks. और दूसरी चीज़ ये कि मैं यहाँ एक लालच से आया और लालच ये है that I'm really hoping that some of you would join the mission that I'm in. I've done analysis. If you want to hear that, you can see that on YouTube. I've spoken more than I should. And I'm bored of speaking. You must be bored of listening. So I'll say a few things, but my real thing is to, I really hope that the larger mission of which I see this election and future of our democracy, I really wish some of you would at some point wish to join that mission. Because I think about 150 years ago, someone said, the point, however, is to change it. That is the mission that I'm here for. What a historic verdict. We are witnessing something truly historic. Something that 10 years from now, 20 years from now, I was very young in 1977. I know none of you would be born then. But 1977, I was 14-year-old, and the election was coming. I was in a very small town of Rajasthan, Srinagar, and we were gathered up at the Tehsil. The counting of votes used to take place in the Tehsil headquarters. So thousands of people were standing there, and there were no trends coming. Those were the days of ballot counting. So the first, second round would take place around 3 or 4 in the afternoon. Before that, mixing and bundling used to happen. But even then, there would be no trends. So 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, we were waiting. And those were not days of television. So radio, Akashwani. Akashwani at 6 in the evening said, trends are available from Andhra Pradesh. 4 seats, Congress leading in all the 4. Trends are available then from Karnataka. Only those places where Congress was winning, only those places were being reported. Nothing else was being reported. And thousands of us were standing on the street. I was just one bystander. I can't even claim I had done some bit of wall writing for Janata Party, so I could claim to be an activist, but I was not. वहाँ खड़े हुए थे, सिर्फ देख रहे थे तमाशा. Then it's around 8 in the evening that BBC Hindi service, those days that was there, and Mark Tully used to be reporting from Delhi. And Mark Tully for the first time brought the report that all the places for which you do not have official count, you don't have official count because Congress is losing all those places. I don't know if any of you would have read that bit of history, but in that election, from Rajasthan till Bihar, Congress did not win one single seat. They lost all the seats. Only Madhya Pradesh Chhindwara was the only seat left. Every single seat was won by Janata Party. Every single seat was lost by Congress. But there was no reporting. When that report came at 8 in the evening, and Mark Tully said, Mrs. Gandhi herself is training in Raebareli, and Sanjay Gandhi himself is training in Amethi. वहाँ सड़क पे जो बिजली को I cannot, if the one thing that made me into a political activist and a political scientist, it was that moment. वो जो बिजली थी कि हाँ हम किसी को आसमान से उठा के जमीन पे पटक सकते, कौन होते हैं राजा, कौन होते हैं प्रधानमंत्री, जनता चाहे तो सबको औकात बता सकती है. I saw that, and that moment transformed. And believe me, you have witnessed a glimpse of something of that kind. छोटा इलेक्शन नहीं है, बहुत बड़ी चीज हुई है. अब पूरा मीडिया और पूरा इनका तंत्र जुटा हुआ है आपको बताने में कि बड़ी चीज नहीं हुई, छोटी चीज हुई है. अब अगले 10 दिन तक आपको ये नैरेटिव दिया जाएगा, नहीं वो वहां पे मोदी जी थोड़ा सा राजनाथ जी ने टिकट देने में गड़बड़ कर दी थी, थोड़ा सा ये मिस्टेक हो गया था, हल्का सा टेक्निकल गड़बड़ हो गई थी, अदरवाइज मामला ठीक ठाक था. आपको ये सब कहानियां सुनाई जाएंगी, सब झूठ है. Look at the context of this election. This was no ordinary election. This was not a normal election. And please do not analyze it like an ordinary normal election. Yesterday I was speaking to a group of political scientists. They were meeting in Italy to analyze elections of India. So I got to speak to them. And I just said, please, for heaven's sake, the job of a political scientist is not to be a scorer or a statistician in a cricket match. Stop doing that. जो क्रिकेट की कमेंट्री भी लिखता है, I listen to cricket commentaries carefully and I read some of the good stuff. A good cricket commentary is not just about telling you इसने इतने रन बनाए, इतने सिक्स लगाए, टूर्नामेंट के सबसे ज़्यादा सिक्स इसने लगा दिए. That's not a serious commentary. Serious commentary वो होती है जो आपको बताती है कि पहले 4 ओवर में एक प्रेशर बिल्ड कर रहा था और उन्होंने वो किया था, बॉलिंग इस डायरेक्शन में हो रही थी और फिर उस प्लेयर ने अपने स्टैंस को चेंज करके ये खेलना शुरू किया और उससे चीज बदली. So a serious commentary even of cricket, which incidentally is a much better quality of commentary than commentary on politics in our country. मैं सचमुच सबको कहता हूँ और मजाक में नहीं, बहुत सीरियसली कहता हूँ, सब लोग जो पॉलिटिक्स पे कमेंट्री लिखते हैं इनको क्रिकेट कमेंट्री ध्यान से पढ़ना चाहिए, या यूरोप में जो फुटबॉल पे लिखा जाता है वो पढ़ना चाहिए. इट्स अ वेरी हाई क्वालिटी स्टफ बिकॉज you do not simply look at numbers. At the end of a match you do not say this team scored 3 goals. ये जानने के लिए मुझे किसी कमेंटेटर की जरूरत नहीं, मुझे भी दिखता है. A serious commentary begins by understanding the context in which something is happening. What is the context of this election? This was not a normal election. ये इलेक्शन इसलिए किया जा रहा था कि इस देश का सुप्रीम लीडर पिछले 5 साल तक जो करना आया है और अगले 5 साल जो करने की नीयत है उसके ऊपर जनता का पकड़ के अंगूठा लगवा है, जैसे पुतिन लगवाता है हर 5 साल बाद. प्लीज रिमेंबर, 21st century authoritarianism does not shy away from elections. Every dictator of 21st century regularly holds elections. इसलिए कोई आपको कहे ना डिक्टेटरशिप कैसे है साहब, यहाँ तो इलेक्शंस हो रहे हैं. प्लीज, सब जगह इलेक्शन होते हैं. डिक्टेटर तो जरूर करवाता है इलेक्शन, नॉर्थ कोरिया में भी इलेक्शंस होते हैं. सो एसेंशियली 21st century की डिक्टेटरशिप्स के लिए ये जरूरी होता है that they need to get popular mandate, popular affirmation. क्योंकि डिक्टेटरशिप आप क्यों चला रहे हैं? जनता हमारे साथ है इसलिए. सो ये जनता का अंगूठा लगवाने का इलेक्शन था. Not about a government, not about a party. As you know, there was no BJP in this party. Modi's guarantee, Modi's election, Modi's party. So it is इस देश में एक शख्स का जो राज चल रहा था उस पे जनता से वैलिडेशन करवाने का इलेक्शन था. और एक बार वैलिडेशन अगर अच्छे से हो जाता, उसके बाद 5 साल तक आपको बताया जाता, आप कुछ भी क्वेश्चन करते, आप अनएम्प्लॉयमेंट करते तो वो कहते बट पीपल आर विद अस. आप किसान की अवस्था कहते बट पीपल हैव वोटेड फॉर अस. आप औरतों के हालात के बारे में कहते पीपल हैव वोटेड फॉर अस. दिस इज व्हाट is happening. So this election was not a normal election about who forms the government. No. This election was not about who manages to get 272 seats. No. This election was about eliminating the possibility of dissent and opposition and getting such popular affirmation which would serve to erase all forms of dissent and opposition and which would serve to justify whatever is done in the name of the people. And the final outcome of this election is that people refuse to give that assent. That is the essence of it. बाकी सारा statistics मैंने बहुत किया, आपको सिखा दूंगा. But the reality, look at the big picture first. Don't get drowned into micro details. The big picture is people of this country said no, thanks, but no. This is not what you are getting. ये 400 पार और ये सब जो आपने ये नहीं मिलेगा. This was not a normal election in the manner in which the election was fought. Just look at the context. क्रिकेट मैच का स्कोर लिखते टाइम भी आप देखते हैं ना, पिच क्या थी, अंपायर क्या कर रहा था, दर्शक क्या कर रहे थे, कौन बॉटल फेंक रहा था वहां पे स्टेडियम के अंदर, ये सब चीजें देखी जाती है ना. स्कोरर नहीं देखता, लेकिन जो मैच का कमेंट्री लिखता है वो सब चीज देखता है. अब आप भी देखिए इस मैच में क्या क्या हो रहा था. 1 week before the election is to be announced, 2 election commissioners were changed. One person, who is the election commissioner, Arun Goyal at that time, resigns in mysterious circumstances. Have you ever read any interview of Arun Goyal after he resigned? No, no one has. No one has spoken to him. No one knows. So someone holding a constitutional office suddenly, mysteriously resigns and disappears in thin air. And then 2 new people are brought in against the explicit decision of the Supreme Court, which said this method of appointing election commissioners is wrong. Please bring a new law as per the spirit. They bring in a new law violating all that and appoint these 2 people. So remember, this was a match where umpires were changed 1 hour before the match was to begin. याद रखिए इसको. And who appointed the new umpires? The captain of the team. He appointed new umpires to his taste. Second, ये वो मैच था जहां रिसोर्सेज के मामले में कोई कंपैरिजन नहीं था. The kind of resources BJP could bring to play in this election was not 2 times, 3 times, 4 times or 10 times. It was infinitely more than anyone else could do. Opposition part, कांग्रेस का अकाउंट फ्रीज कर दिया, सीपीआई का अकाउंट फ्रीज कर दिया. अकाउंट फ्रीज ना भी करते तो क्या फर्क पड़ता था, वो तो पता नहीं, कभी कभी उत्साह में ज्यादा गलती हो जाती है. ना भी अकाउंट फ्रीज करते तब भी it was 1:1000. ये सारा इलेक्टोरल बॉन्ड क्या है? And mind you, electoral bond is only a tiny tip of the iceberg. ये हिंदुस्तान के हर काम में होता है ना, 1 नंबर का थोड़ा सा पैसा आपको रखना पड़ता है ताकि 2 नंबर का सारा काम कर सके. तो इलेक्टोरल बॉन्ड इज जस्ट दैट टाइनी बिट, जो 10 पैसा 1 नंबर का भी जेब में रखना पड़ता है. इट्स जस्ट दैट, एंड दैट रैन इनटू 8,000 crore rupees. The amount of money एक कॉन्स्टिट्यूएंसी के अंदर जो बीजेपी हार गई, उसके बारे में लोगों ने बताया कि देखो पार्टी का पैसा वेस्ट करवा दिया जी इसने. मैंने कहा कितना? कहते 190 करोड़ रुपया खर्च हो गए. 190 crore rupees were spent in one constituency, which BJP lost. This is the kind of election we are talking about. It's not an ordinary election. Administration, police, IT, ED. Ever heard of these things before? ये बिहार के सरपंच के, उत्तर प्रदेश के सरपंची के इलेक्शन में ये होता है कि कोई नॉमिनेशन फाइल करने जाए और कहते नहीं 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 जरा छोड़ो ना, या फाइल कर दिया तो उसके 10 रिश्तेदार घर पहुंच जाते हैं कि नहीं नहीं वापस ले लो, और नहीं तो कभी कभी ऐसा होता है कि रूलिंग पार्टी वाले अपने लठ देके, बंगाल में भी होता था, अभी भी बंगाल में होता है, मगर ये सरपंच के इलेक्शन में होता है कि नॉमिनेशन विथड्रॉ करवाए जाते हैं। आज तक इस देश में पार्लियामेंट्री इलेक्शन में ये कभी नहीं हुआ। What happened in Surat? What happened in Indore? कांग्रेस का कैंडिडेट को आपने धमकाया, कहा कि तुम्हारे अगेंस्ट केस कर। इंदौर में कांग्रेस के कैंडिडेट को कहा कि तुम्हारे अगेंस्ट 19 साल पहले एक केस था, वो करेंगे, उसमें 307 लगा देंगे, बच्चों 10 साल के लिए तो अंदर हो जाओगे। कमजोर दिल का आदमी था, उसने कहा नहीं भाई मैं विड्रॉ कर देता हूं। कहानी यहां नहीं रुकती है। बीजेपी लीडर हैज ए सेल्फी विद कांग्रेस कैंडिडेट। बीजेपी लीडर मिस्टर विजय वर्गीय has a selfie in his swank car with his latest catch, which is Congress's candidate who has withdrawn the nomination. Yahi nahi. The collector then calls all other independent candidates to his office and says कि कांग्रेस वाले ने withdraw कर लिया है, अब आप भी सब withdraw करो ना, खत्म करो, क्यों तमाशा कर रहे हो? All the independent candidates were called. बीजेपी लीडर्स कॉल्ड ईच ऑफ द इंडिपेंडेंट कैंडिडेट्स टू से अब 2 घंटे का टाइम है, सब करो। एक प्रॉब्लम छोटी सी हो गई। एक एसयूसीआई का कैंडिडेट था, लेफ्ट वाला था। अब लेफ्ट वालों के पास कितना भी आप कर लो, इतना ईमानदार तो रहते हैं, उसने कहा मर जाऊंगा, विड्रॉ नहीं करूंगा। दिस इज व्हाई यू हैड एन इलेक्शन इन इंदौर। अदरवाइज लाइक सूरत, इंदौर वाज आल्सो गोइंग टू बी अनकॉन्टेस्टेड इलेक्शन। कभी नहीं हुआ इस देश में। 1977 में नहीं हुई ये चीजें। आफ्टर इमरजेंसी, emergency was totalitarian, was dictatorship, but those elections for those 2 months were clean and neat. Indira Gandhi somehow thought she was going to win it. तो गलती हो गई, लेकिन वो था, but elections clean हुए। सारा administration, ED, CBI, everyone is batting for them. And need I say something about the media? The manner in which 2024 election was covered by the media would definitely go down as one of the most shameful chapters in the history of Indian public communication. इससे बुरी हालत कहीं नहीं थी। Prime Minister says 400 बार. Fair enough, he's absolutely entitled to say 400 बार. Rahul Gandhi can say 400 बार, he can say 500 बार, that's all right. But media उसके बाद अगले दिन से 400 बार, 400 बार, 400 बार, 400 बार, as if it's a gospel truth. And did you watch any of these interviews that were happening? One of these 70 interviews. One of the interviews, Smita Prakash, who heads ANI, supposed to be a news agency that supplies information to everyone. Everyone picks up their news from ANI. And how does the interview begin? प्रधानमंत्री जी, ये इलेक्शन तो फॉर्मेलिटी ही है ना। This is how the interview begins. This is an interview being done on national television of the Prime Minister, who is a contender, who is a contestant, who is a candidate in an election. They were all acting as spokespersons of the ruling party. The entire media in this country. There are honorable exceptions. He happens to be one of those honorable exceptions. कानून में अच्छा सा ईमानदारी से काम हो रहा था. मगर even in mainstream media, there were 3 or 4 newspapers which were doing quite a decent job. मगर वो decent job सिर्फ अंग्रेजी में होता है. अंग्रेजी के लिए बचा के रखते हैं कि ठीक है, मेरे साथ जैसे कर रखा है उन्होंने पिछले 4-5 साल से, हिंदी चैनल्स पे बैन लगा दिया है, अंग्रेजी बतिया लो, क्या फर्क पड़ेगा? वो 2-4 JNU के लोग इम्प्रेस हो जाएंगे उससे, how does it make a difference? So 2-4 हमारे अंग्रेजी के अखबारों ने ईमानदारी से काम किया, otherwise the entire mainstream media of this country is criminally complicit. It's a criminal conduct कि आप इलेक्शन के अंदर न्यूज के नाम पे लोगों को बिल्कुल प्रोपेगेंडा पेश कर रहा है। आई मेट हंड्रेड्स ऑफ ऑर्डिनरी पीपल, आपकी तरह मैं भी उत्तर प्रदेश में घूम रहा था, सब तरफ घूम रहा था। कितने लोग कहते थे जी वोट साइकिल को दूंगा लेकिन आएगा तो मोदी। सब कन्विंस थे कि आएगा तो मोदी। आई एम एन एक्सेप्शन, यू आर एन एक्सेप्शन, शी इज एन एक्सेप्शन, शी इज एन एक्सेप्शन, पर आएगा तो मोदी। This is exactly what is the impact of propaganda is. That everyone is converted into an exception. And the non-existent thing is the rule. This is what the media did. आप सोचिए, अगर हिंदुस्तान का आधा मीडिया आधी ईमानदारी से काम कर लेगा, पूरी ईमानदारी भी नहीं, ठीक है, चमचागिरी वगैरह इज ऑल राइट, झूठ तो मत बनाओ। If half of this country's media was even half honest, if let's say 5 television channels out of 60, 10 television channels had simply said, this is a close election, we don't know who's going to win. God's own truth, कोई गड़बड़ नहीं थी. I don't expect them to say opposition is winning or any such thing. उत्तर प्रदेश में अगर चैनल्स ये कह देते कि कांटे का मुकाबला है, हमें नहीं पता कौन जीत रहा है, इसी से इलेक्शन बदल जाता। वो जो कहता था कि मैं तो साइकिल को वोट दूंगा लेकिन आएगा मोदी, वो कहता साइकिल को वोट दूंगा और देखना इनको भगा देंगे पूरे देश से। भाग रहे हैं साहब, चैनल बता रहा है इस बात को। So remember, the entire media was one-sided, and not to mention the election commission. Election Commission of India's conduct has been disgraceful. I say this with all responsibility, and I say this as an ex-ambassador of Election Commission of India. When there was the 50th anniversary of the Election Commission of India, in year 2002, I think they celebrated it. They invited 100 election commissioners from all over the world. And the Election Commission of India chose me to address all of them in a keynote address and to explain to them the strength of India's elections. So मैंने इनके लिए एम्बेसडर का काम किया है, और आज शर्म से कहता हूँ, इन्होंने नाक कटवा दी, हिंदुस्तान की पूरी इज्जत को मिट्टी में मिला दिया। The kind of conduct of the election commission. The Prime Minister every day goes about doing what is prohibited under the law. What is the first point of your modern code of conduct? और इनकी इतनी हिम्मत नहीं हुई कि एक चिट्ठी इशू कर सकें saying that there is a complaint against you. मतलब छोड़ दीजिए, एक्शन लेना तो छोड़ दीजिए। When there were complaints, they sent a letter to the president of the BJP, which has never happened in the history of this country. If there is a complaint against you, I would issue a notice to you. I would not issue a notice to him if there is a complaint against you. This is what they did. They did not have the courage to do elementary duty. So this is the context of this election. और जब ऐसे हालात में रूलिंग पार्टी, जिसको आखिरी दिन तक एग्जिट पोल के दिन तक बताया जा रहा था, 400 पार तो करवा ही दिया था, 401 तक तो पहुंचा दिया था, when that comes down, this is no less than an earthquake. इसमें बिल्कुल मैटर नहीं करता है कि 240 है क्या है, क्योंकि अगर ये सब चीजें ना होती which I am talking about, तो कहाँ 240 होते। मैं तो अभी कल ही एनालिसिस किया है। If BJP had lost 1% vote, just 1 percentage point vote if they had lost, their tally would have been, NDA would have been 260 seats. Just 1%. And BJP would have been 214 seats. And the supreme leader would have been the leader of opposition. सिर्फ 1% वोट, और ये सारा प्रोपेगेंडा, टीवी चैनल और ये सब, इसका 1% असर नहीं पड़ा होगा, 2% असर नहीं पड़ा होगा। So what has happened is we have witnessed in large parts of this country a vote against authoritarian politics. Now, BJP would say, rightly so, that they have indeed gained in so many other states. They have gained votes, they have gained seats in the coastal belt running from Kerala to Odisha. That's correct. And let's see what it is. From Karnataka to Bihar, if you look at this one big territory, from Karnataka and Maharashtra start moving and go all the way up to Bihar and Jharkhand. With one or two exceptions, in every state there is a swing against BJP. Now I'm talking technical psychology. सिर्फ बोल जाइए, वोट्स देखिए, हर जगह इन ड्रॉप कर रहा है. टेक 3 states, झारखंड, बिहार, उत्तर प्रदेश. रिजल्ट्स आर वेरी अनइवन. हम कहते हैं उत्तर प्रदेश में तो हो गया, बिहार में कुछ नहीं हुआ. उत्तर प्रदेश में स्विंग है 6.7%, बिहार में स्विंग है 6.8% और झारखंड में है 7%. There's identical swing in all the 3 states, but the results are different. वो इसलिए कि कहीं starting point low है, कहीं starting point high. In Bihar, the gap last time between NDA and UPA was 23 percentage points. In UP, the gap was 13 percentage points. So obviously 7% swing will turn 13 completely around, but 23 is too large a gap to be covered. So anyway, my point at the moment is not to get into psychology of it. मैं सिर्फ ये बता रहा हूँ कि सब तरफ एक्सेप्शन इसका है गुजरात और मध्य प्रदेश. वहाँ बीजेपी को कोई लॉस ऑफ वोट्स नहीं हुआ है. Everywhere else BJP has lost votes. हरियाणा, राजस्थान और हिमाचल में कोई सीट बीजेपी का लॉस नहीं हुआ. But there is a 14% point swing against the BJP. Haryana 12%. Haryana is 13%, Rajasthan 12%. So we are looking at a wave, an undercurrent which sweeps across this area. कहीं सीट गिरी है, कहीं सीट नहीं गिरी है, but in terms of votes and popular perceptions and popular preferences, BJP is down everywhere. What about coastal area? In the coastal area, remember, the support that BJP has got, it has improved votes, it has improved seats. Even when it has not improved seats, it has improved votes, like Tamil Nadu. Tamil Nadu, they have not improved seats, they in fact have gone down, but they have improved votes. But please remember, in all these areas, BJP is not going as the central government, political authoritarian political establishment of this country led by Mr. Modi. It is an anti-establishment party in all these areas. In Odisha, it's a party of Odisha's Asmita. In Telangana, it's a party, in fact, party of the BCs, backward communities, which have not got adequate representation right now. In Andhra, it's an anti-incumbency against YSR Reddy party. In Tamil Nadu, against the dominant Dravidian establishment. And in Kerala, against UDF and DF establishment. Everywhere BJP is entering as a challenger. So BJP, the challenger, is accepted by the people. BJP, the establishment, is rejected by the people. That is the overall connect that we see. That is the overall verdict in this election. Before the elections began, I said something which I repeated before counting. So इसलिए बाद में नहीं manufacture कर रहा, पहले ही मैंने कहा. In this kind of a context, when it is so loaded, everything is loaded against you. In that, I said, if BJP gets 1 seat less than 300, it's a moral defeat for the BJP. If they get 1 seat less than 272, the majority mark, it's a political defeat for the BJP. And if they get 1 seat less than 250, it is a personal defeat for Narendra Modi. And now we can say it is a moral defeat, it's a political defeat, and it's a personal defeat. And that's why these elections matter so much. There is this silly meme going around, बीजेपी वालों ने चलवाया है, which says, look at this boy who got 85%, जिसको 85% मिले हैं वो बेचारा बड़ा उदास है, जिसको 50% मिले हैं वो बड़ा खुश है, सेलिब्रेट कर रहा है. You know, the funny thing about that meme is that it's actually true. There are occasions in history where someone with 85 can be a loser and someone with 45 can be a winner. And this is one of those occasions. अगर आप में से पता नहीं कितने लोग क्रिकेट में आजकल इंटरेस्ट लेते हैं, पर आपने देखा होगा ना, पहले आईपीएल में यहाँ हर बार 200, 250, 260 रन बन जाते थे, you know, और आजकल 125 रन नहीं बन रहे हैं. अमेरिका जाके someone gets out at 100, someone is out at 100, and if someone scores 150, they are elated. They think it's because the pitch is different, and it all depends on the pitch that you're playing. So, to take the cricket metaphor forward, if you play on such a difficult pitch, when you don't even know कि कल तक आपका जो कैंडिडेट है वो आपके साथ रहेगा या बीजेपी की गाड़ी में बैठ के चला जाएगा, आपके सपोर्टर के यहाँ ईडी का छापा पड़ेगा या नहीं पड़ेगा. If the pitch is so bad, and if what you have is body line bowling, क्रिकेट में body line bowling का एक एपिसोड है जहाँ टारगेट किया जाता था कि विकेट पे बॉल नहीं डाली जाती थी, बैट्समैन बॉल पे बॉल डाली जाती थी, बॉडी लाइन बॉलिंग हो रही है और अंपायर आंख बंद करके खड़ा है वहां पे. उसमें if you are 99 not out, this is much better than any double century or any triple century. This is what we have witnessed. What are the implications? जो हुआ क्या हुआ और इसकी क्या implication है और आखिर में हम क्या कर सकते हैं. There is opening of democratic spaces. इसमें तो कोई शक ही नहीं. अचानक सांस लेने की जगह बन गई. हमारे एक दोस्त ने कहा कि हवा में ऑक्सीजन बढ़ गई है थोड़ा सा सबके लिए, और जिनको पर्टिकुलरली टारगेट किया, किस तरह की बातें इस देश के प्राइम मिनिस्टर ने की. देश का प्राइम मिनिस्टर पब्लिक स्टेज पे खड़ा होके इस देश के 20 करोड़ लोगों को, जिन लोगों को रक्षा करना उसका काम है, उन्हें घुसपैठिया बोल रहा है. जिन लोगों ने 1-2 जनरेशन नहीं, जिन्होंने कभी इस देश की मिट्टी के कुछ देखा नहीं है, उनको इंट्रूडर और घुसपैठिया बताया जा रहा है इस देश में. तो उस सब माहौल में ये परिणाम आना, it's definitely a breath of fresh air. Yes, it opens up possibilities. क्या possibilities कम है और क्या ज्यादा है, उस पर छोटी सी बात मैं कहूँ. पिछले 2-1 दिन से बहुत एक्साइटेड हो गए हमारे दोस्त कि अब आरएसएस वाले बीजेपी को डंडे लगाएंगे. Don't waste too much of your energy on that. ये 2 दिन का खेल है, खत्म हो जाएगा. और वो जैसे खेल करना जानते हैं, उस खेल को निपटाना भी जानते हैं. तो ये सब निपट जाएगा. There isn't too much to be excited about RSS. You know, RSS is not coming to defend secularism and democracy and constitution of this country. So please, let's step back. So in terms of what we can expect from this elections, as I said, I would not put too much of hopes on the internal squabbles within the BJP. BJP, RSS, BJP के अंदर छोटे-मोटे खेल चलते रहेंगे. My mind is Modi and Shah have already perfected the art. They are very much in control. वैसे कई बार मैं कहता हूँ कि मोदी जी के सताए हुए असली लोग हम नहीं हैं. असली लोग तो वो बेचारे बीजेपी के अंदर हैं. वो बेचारे बोल भी नहीं सकते, हम बोल तो लेते हैं कम से कम. So anyway, but that's really not where one would put one's hopes. In terms of allies, I think we tend to overread what the allies can do. आजकल पिछले कुछ दिनों से चर्चा चली है, नीतीश कुमार ये करेंगे, चंद्रबाबू नायडू ये करेंगे. Those of you who have followed their trajectory would know कि वो कुछ भी नहीं करेंगे. I don't expect any moderation to come out through the enemies. Yes, if the BJP were to do something which is very anti-federal and anti-South India, that would probably be stopped by TDP. But frankly, now that BJP has, one of the beautiful things that have happened in these elections is that BJP has finally developed vested interests in South India. And vested interests are the best guarantee of ethics. अब बीजेपी को वोट करें साउथ इंडिया में, तो इसलिए साउथ इंडिया इंस्टीट्यूट करेंगे नहीं. That's my hope, because BJP just now too much at stake in South India for them to do something against the federal structure. So छोड़ दीजिए. But other than that, or if they were to do something very blatantly anti-minority, very brazen and open, constitutional or something, that's again where the allies might step in. But I really do not expect very much else to happen from allies. Allies would go along. They have perfected the art. Mr. Modi and Shah have perfected the art of managing everyone. और दिल्ली में कई तरीकों से मैनेज किया जाता है. लोगों को फाइल से मैनेज किया जाता है. हर एक की एक फाइल रखते हैं और उसको कमरे में बुला के दिखा देते हैं, तुम्हारी ये फाइल. अपने लोग उतने से सेट हो जाते हैं. फिर किसी को कैश से सेटल करना पड़ता है, किसी को लाल बत्ती देनी पड़ती है, ये सब हो जाता है. So I don't think that's going to be much of an issue. It's still something, but don't pin your hopes too much on that. The opposition is where I would put a little more hope in. The opposition is present in bigger numbers and they have a voice. Numbers alone do not matter, but in parliament, I expect them to have a voice. And if they are not allowed to speak inside the parliament, I would expect them to come out and speak. Unlike what they did when 140 of them were thrown out of the parliament. And all they did was to hold a meeting in Jantar Mantar. That's no opposition. So I expect opposition to become stronger. I expect them to articulate themselves, and also because they have now the confidence. You see, politics is like stock market. It's all about sentiment. Share markets rise and collapse on sentiments. If someone is seen to be going up, then no one in the world dare come in the way. But when someone is down, then every small thing can be an obstacle. And what this election has done is that now in everyone's perception, Mr. Modi is down. That's important, not the score. Down होने के बाद यहाँ रुके या यहाँ रुके, this is steady space. वो जो है, that is making a difference. So I expect the opposition to play a little more role, and I hope they would not only do that in the parliament, but outside parliament as well. What about institutions in the country? Frankly, I expect almost nothing from bureaucracy. They will continue to be as obedient and as servile as they have been. I really don't expect much to happen from them. Once in a while, some honest officer may get some strength, but not otherwise. Media and judiciary, I expect a subtle change in both of them. Subtle change, not very big change. मगर change इतना होगा कि मीडिया में जो ऑपोजिशन के पीछे भेड़िए की तरह भागते थे, वो बंद कर, चर्चा की तो नहीं छोड़ेंगे, क्योंकि मालिक की गर्दन पकड़ी हुई है. For this, please don't blame ordinary journalists. They have captured all the owners. उसके हिसाब से होता है. तो मीडिया में सटल चेंज हो सकता है, ऐसा मुझे लगता है. और जुडिशरी, I expect judiciary to start noticing the letter of the law and something called the Constitution of India. Something they have kind of forgotten. थोड़ा सा blurred सा हो गया था Constitution. शायद अब दोबारा दिखना शुरू हो जाएगा. Do remember, judiciary all over the world keeps an eye on public opinion. और public opinion बदलता है, judiciary भी बदलती है. So I expect subtle changes. I don't expect dramatic changes from either of them. But कुछ hostility का level थोड़ा सा कम हो जाएगा. But my real hope is about the movements, protests and resistance in this country. In the last 5 years, if there was opposition in the country, the opposition was not from opposition parties. The opposition was on the street. NTCA, farmers movement, all these things were happening, or the famous Dalit protest just before 2019. All of these were happening on the street. So संसद है, लेकिन संसद से बड़ी सड़क पे प्रोटेस्ट होगा, और वो प्रोटेस्ट पहले से ज्यादा ताकतवर होगा, ऐसी मेरी उम्मीद है. So what is the challenge and what is to be done? I have now 3 minutes, so I'll just wrap it up. There is a long, long way to go. India is still not a proper democratic country. I have been saying for some time that India should be called a competitive authoritarian state. और दुनिया में इसकी एक कैटेगरी है, just go and read up on this. Competitive authoritarian states, जहाँ इलेक्शन होते हैं, लेकिन इलेक्शन के अलावा डिक्टेटरशिप रहती है, और इलेक्शंस ठीक ठाक हो जाते हैं, मतलब इलेक्शन में कभी कभी रूलिंग पार्टी हार भी सकती है. So India has been one of those states now for the last 10 years. Will we move out of that category and become a democratic, competitive democratic state? That remains to be seen. That remains to be seen because there are many challenges. I do think that this regime will go out of its way to prove that they are not weak. कमजोर है, सारी दुनिया को दिख रहा है कि कमजोर हो गए. अब कुछ ड्रामा करना पड़ेगा कि नहीं, देखा हमने ये कर दिया. कल अरुंधति रॉय के खिलाफ केस हो गया है. तो I expect the regime to be vindictive and even more nasty than before. कमजोर है, पर कमजोर ज्यादा नास्टी होता है हमेशा. Someone who's strong can afford to be little relaxed. So there is a challenge on all the dissenters. There is a challenge of अभी से हम ये ना मान कि देश की जनता डेमोक्रेटिक वैल्यूज पे रह गई है ना. लोगों ने डेमोक्रेसी को वापस कुछ हद तक ले आए हैं, लेकिन अभी भी डेमोक्रेटिक वैल्यूज के लिए काम करना बाकी है. Because all of us had taken constitution and democracy for granted, and we had actually not inculcated these values. That challenge remains. Secularism, although this has been a big breather, but please do not think that communalism has been defeated. No. Communal rulers have got a setback, but communal sentiment, communal ideology is here to stay. Even if BJP were to be ousted, communal ideology is here to stay. So, there is a big challenge for all of us. Because in the last instance, a republic is saved not by parties, not by courts, not by parliaments. A republic is saved by the public. आप पाकिस्तान की हिस्ट्री देखिए, बांग्लादेश देखिए, नेपाल देखिए, यूरोप की हिस्ट्री देख लीजिए. It's only when public comes onto the street that republic is defended, and that is our challenge for times to come. आप इतना समझ लीजिए कि बस में पांव रखने की जगह मिल गई है. दरवाजा बंद जो करने की नियत थी, दरवाजा बंद नहीं कर सके, दरवाजा खुला रह गया है. अभी अंदर घुस के लड़ाई करना बाकी है. A long-term struggle which has to be political, ideological and cultural. That is a battle that we have to start. It's a long battle. And anyone who wants to join it, with Bharat Jodo Abhiyan, we worked in 156 constituencies of this country this time. क्योंकि हमें लगा कि we have our own party, Swaraj India, लेकिन हमने फैसला किया कि Swaraj India will not contest any election. 2 साल पहले हमने फैसला किया, will not contest any election, will simply support whoever can defeat the BJP in this election. which is what we did. तो 156 कॉन्स्टिट्यूएंसीज में भारत जोड़ो अभियान ने काम, सिर्फ स्वराज नहीं, बहुत लोगों ने जोड़ दिया. We worked in 156 constituencies, and we want to continue to work for the next 5 years to save the republic, to save democratic constitution, to save our secularism. और उसके लिए मिलके काम करेंगे. मेरा गर्मी के दिन यहाँ पे आना सार्थक हो जाएगा. I came here not to give analysis, but in the hope that some of you might wish to join this effort, because the point is not to analyze it, the point is to change the situation. So here is my email ID. My email ID is whatever you expect it to be, which is yogendra.yadav@gmail.com. Drop in the word. If any of you want to write your name and phone numbers, please give it to me right away, because enthusiasm tends to wane once you go out of the room. So वो दीजिए. किसी भी स्टेज पे आप ज्वाइन करना चाहें, कितना भी कुछ महीने का काम, अभी झारखंड, हरियाणा, मध्य प्रदेश, महाराष्ट्र में इलेक्शन होने वाला है, उसमें अगर आप 10 दिन देते हैं वो बताइए, whatever you can do. Or if there is a friend who you think कि मेरे को तो नहीं करना, पर अगर वो आज इस रूम में होता तो जरूर कुछ करता, उसका नाम दे दीजिए, फोन नंबर दे दीजिए. Thank you very much.